Hello everyone and welcome to Fifth North. I'm Demir and it is a beautiful Sunday morning here. I'm going out for a little ride. It's only about 75 degrees, which is just about perfect. Just doing a little cruise, nothing too official. Wanted to give you guys a 1,000 mile update, or at least 1,000 miles. Since I've owned the bike's got a little bit more than 1K on the clock. But anyway, wanted to talk about my overall opinion on the bike, talk about what it's been like to own it for the last K or so, and yeah, just kind of catch you guys up on everything. On a side note, still loving my Competition Works exhaust system. Just sounds amazing on the bike. You guys can hear all these little pops and bangs as I let off the throttle. It's just a beautiful sound and honestly quite addicting. So anyway, enjoy the soundtrack and let's dive right in. Alright, so it's been about 1,000 miles in total that I've ridden this bike. A little bit more than that is on the actual odometer, but again, I've personally ridden it for about 1,000 miles, and I wanted to just kind of check back in with you guys and let you know, my thoughts on the bike, let you know how it's been riding it, let you know kind of the overall decision, if you will, with the bike. So anyway, the bike, as you guys probably already know, is a 2019 Vitpilen 401. I do have a couple of modifications done to the bike. If you guys haven't seen some of the videos, go ahead and look back, and there's quite a few. But basically, we've got the passenger delete, we've got the fender eliminator, we've got the exhaust system, we've got an LED turn signal conversion, we've got bar end mirrors, we've got a custom wrap, and a couple other small bits here and there. So obviously not a stock bike, but still close enough to where you have a pretty good idea of what it's going to feel like if you were to pick up a Vitpilen 401. So let's dive right in. So let's talk about suspension. So the suspension on this bike, in my opinion, is really good for this bike. I haven't really had too many issues with the suspension. Haven't really done a lot of adjustments or a lot of finicking with it. I'm sure if I was a little bit more of an aggressive rider than I am, or if maybe I spent some time on track or something like that, or maybe doing some really intense canyon roads or something, maybe then I would want some more suspension, or maybe I'd want to adjust a few more things. But honestly, in the riding style that I do, and in this kind of backcountry road, a little bit of urban commuting, that kind of stuff, I've had absolutely zero issues with the suspension. I really do enjoy it. I feel like it's stiff enough but comfortable enough, and I've never really had any issues around bottoming out or anything like that. So I have hit a couple of pretty big dips here and there, but still absolutely no issues. So suspension wise, to me, I think the bike does a pretty good job. No real complaints, and for an entry level to a mid-level bike, really I can't find any complaints. Alright, so moving on from the suspension, let's talk about brakes. So the thing about brakes for me is there's two things to look at. One is how strong are the actual brakes? Like, are they actually strong enough to stop the bike really quickly? Are they strong enough to get the back tire to come up if you hit the front brakes too hard? Is the ABS good? Is the ABS too intrusive? And then the last thing is how jumpy or how sensitive are the brakes, right? So when you look at the Vitpilen, at least the 2019 model, I can't speak for other models as I haven't ridden them. But here on the 2019 model, I think the brakes are more than adequate. In fact, I would argue that they're probably a little bit more than you need for this bike, based off of how fast it accelerates, based off how fast it goes, all that good stuff. So I would say the brakes are actually really good. They complement the bike really well. And as far as ABS goes, I've really never had any issues with it. And quite frankly, I'm not even really sure that my riding style and my level of spiritedness has really warranted the ABS at all. From my perspective of how twitchy is the brake, how quickly does it activate, really I think it's quite progressive and quite linear, so I'm really happy with that piece. So if you are a beginner rider, if you're newer to motorcycles, it's not going to be overly sensitive where you might launch yourself over the handlebars type of a thing, but it still has a good enough feel to where you feel confident in the braking. Again, may not be the world's most powerful brakes, but for a bike of this weight, for a bike of this speed, the brakes are more than adequate, and in my opinion very linear and progressive. So again, very highly recommended for a newer rider or a mid rider, maybe a second or a third bike for somebody. So outside of the brakes, a few of you have asked questions about fuel economy in a few of the other videos, and so fuel economy wise, I really haven't tracked it that closely, but if I was to kind of give you a rough average based off of what I've seen around a couple of rides where I have maybe paid a little bit more attention, I'm probably getting around 55, maybe 57 miles to the gallon, which I'm sure the bike could do even better, but I kind of tend to just kind of rip on it quite a bit, especially since I've installed hog the exhaust on it. I'm on the throttle all the time just because it sounds so good. So I'm not really being very efficient. I'm sure I could do better if I wanted to, but I'm honestly having way too much fun to care about fuel economy. So, but I will say probably around, you know, mid to high 50s. So definitely really good. All right, so let's answer the question that everybody's probably wondering. You know, suspensions are great, brakes are great, fuel economy is great, but what about the power? Is the bike powerful enough? Do you still enjoy it? Do you want more power? What does that look like? So let me answer that question from a couple of different angles. So from the first angle, is it powerful enough for the weight of this bike? The answer here is yes. Based off how much the bike weighs, this bike has more than enough power. I believe the Vitpilen makes about 45 horsepower, which again is more than enough, and you can definitely accelerate fast enough to where you can take almost any car on the road. If you're coming up to a red light, you need to take off, you need to pass somebody, you've got more than enough power to do that. Is there enough power to have fun? Yes. You know, does it have enough power to pop a wheelie? Yes. Requires a little bit of clutch control, but yes, it definitely can. Does it have enough power to go fast and potentially scare yourself? Yes, of course, it does have that as well. The bike will do, in my opinion, probably 100, 110 comfortably. I think anything past 110 and you're really kind of pushing the stability of it and you're pushing the power level where it's going to take a while to get, you know, more speed past that 110 mark. But, you know, if you're going from 0 to say 60, 70, it's more than fast enough. You're not going to have any issues there. So again, if you're a brand new rider, it definitely has more than enough power, and it's going to be way more powerful than say like a 250. I remember my 250 made like 18 horsepower, so this is definitely, you know, double and then some, so way more powerful from that perspective, way more fun. And if you're a person who maybe this is your second bike, I think it still has enough power for you to have fun, especially if you're coming from a 250. You're going to think it's plenty powerful. If you're a brand new rider and you're looking for a bike that you can grow into and maybe keep for 2 to 4 years, maybe even longer depending on your riding style, this bike definitely has enough power to do that. So no issues on the power front. So let me kind of give you guys the whole thing in a nutshell, right? If you're a brand new rider, suspension, brakes, fuel economy, power, you're gonna absolutely love it, and it's gonna be a great bike to grow into. If you are a second bike owner, or maybe you want to own this bike for 3 to 4 years, I still think it's good enough to do all that. I think it'll have enough power, and I think you'll have fun. If you're a person who's gonna do urban commuting, this bike is perfect for that. If you're gonna be doing you know, kind of back road riding like I am here, perfect for that as well. Now, where does this bike fall short? Well, if you're looking for top-end performance, if you're looking for a full-on sport bike, this isn't it, and you'll be disappointed. If you're looking for a bike to do super long, you know, touring cruises with, again, this is not the bike for that. You'll be disappointed, right? So if you put this bike in the category of where it belongs, I think it's a fantastic bike. All right, so with all that being said, when I gave you guys the 500-mile update, I said the bike was great. Do I still think that? Yes. However, I was wrong. I said that this bike was not going anywhere, and unfortunately that has changed. Yes, this bike is fantastic. Yes, this bike is great overall. However, I do not fall into that new rider category. I also don't fall into the second bike owner category where I want to keep it for 3 to 4 years. The reality of it is, because I took such a long break from owning a bike, I did not take as long of a break from riding, because I did ride a couple of bikes here and there in between, and I shook off the rust a lot faster than I thought I would. So I don't think I'm quite in that second bike phase. I think I'm more in that third to fourth bike phase, and because of that, I find myself wanting something a little bit faster, a little bit more powerful, and quite frankly, something that might have a little bit more of a higher end feel from the technology standpoint. This bike is a little bit limited in things like rider modes and you know, the display, the dash, all that kind of stuff. Again, more than good enough, more than functional. However, I am leaning towards something new. So with that being said, I do want to announce the Vitpilen 401 is going to be going up for sale here in the near future. My Vit's got probably 3 to 4 videos left in it, and then I'll be announcing what the second bike is for the channel, or what the next bike is for the channel. Not necessarily a second bike anymore, because the first bike, the Vitpilen, will be gone. All right, with that being said, with that bombshell, if you guys like this video, hit the like button for me, and if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button as well. Hit the notification bell, that way you guys know when the next video comes out, and you'll know when I do announce that next bike. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great night, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.